So these are the problems we try to put under the one umbrella, what we're helping to solve. In general, you could say, how do we help our customers to grow their online business? So now the question is, what do you guys think? What could be the solution to all of this? And of course, we believe it's personalization. That might sound obvious, but I just want to clarify, what do we think about personalization and what it is? And then let's talk a little bit about why we believe it's the solution. Because personalization, even though people and companies have been talking about it ever since internet was born, it's really still, confusing for a majority of people, even despite being professionals in online business. There are a lot of what happened.
There was a question from the audience.
Oh, there was a question. Yeah? Is it online chat? Can someone check it?
Yeah. How shall we understand third-party purchase funnel?
So that the purchase funnel is delivered by a third-party solution. So meaning system outside from yours. For example, let's say Klarna. Klarna provides steps to your purchase funnel, or the purchase steps. So personalization. Let's try to define what personalization is, just broadly. So first of all, it's an ability for companies to select, tailor, and deliver up to individual user level or up to individual customer level content, offers, and other different kind of interactions in different digital channels, so it's not limited to the website. And basically these actions support marketing, digital commerce, and customer experience. So as you can see, it's a broad definition of personalization. And the definition of personalization is very broad. We haven't actually built this solely by ourselves. So this is based on Gartner's definition of personalization. We just tried to simplify it a bit. So Gartner has studied and researched personalization in the United States for several years, and they've created their definition of it, and we've tried to simplify it. So now from this definition, we can see that personalization is the solution for those problems because it touches upon basically every interaction between you and your customer. So you're fine-tuning every interaction basically via personalization. So for example, optimization could fall under the personalization. Some think optimization is like the bigger thing and personalization is part of it, but it's basically the same genre. So we believe that the goal of the personalization is to help to perfect all of these interactions and do that based on data and insights. So that's why we believe that's the right solution to those problems. What do you guys reckon? Does it make sense? Do you disagree totally?
It doesn't make sense in digital channels, but there's obviously the offline channels where you can do personalization, and then as you say, it's a broad topic, so I guess
Yeah. Okay, so there was a comment that it makes sense in digital channels, but offline channels is another topic, and there's a different kind of personalization there. Yeah, that's true. We're not as far in omni-channel or multi-channel personalization as some slideware might present or suggest around the world when you see fantastic presentations. So yeah, there's still a somewhat, or actually pretty big gap between the offline and online. So that's why mostly at the moment we're talking about online. To some extent we can connect personalization, let's say, to point of sales. So we can use, for example, that data from the point of sales when we personalize the online recommendations. But that's the moment that's the situation at the moment, which actually leads pretty nicely the conversation to Frosmo's vision. Before that, do you still want to ask anything or comment anything about the definition of personalization or why we believe it's so important? No? All right. So before I talk about Frosmo's vision, I want to talk a little bit about the market, what we see is happening there, and it actually relates to that comment about the offline. So if we take a look at this kind of grid we've created. So on this horizontal axle, we try to look at personalization from that business perspective. So in the beginning I spoke about two kind of problems, business related and technical related. So on this horizontal axle we're talking about, vertical axle we're talking about personalization from business perspective, and then horizontal as technological, from perspective of technology. And these axles vary so that companies that see or adapt personalization as sort of one-off campaigns, here at the bottom, and at the top, companies that achieve continuous personalization, implementing it to every action and very core thinking of their business. And here, from technology perspective, companies that implement or see personalization as standalone apps, you take something to do one thing, and then personalization that's connected seamlessly to the technology stack. Does this make sense? Okay. So here at the top right corner, how we see it at Frosmo, there are actually very few companies. We're talking about a handful of companies that have managed to get to this level, that in everything what they do, that I try to think about how do we create unique experience for our customer? How do we make it perfect? And they've managed to do it so that it's fully connected to their technology stack, that they can seamlessly implement it. Can you guys think of some examples of companies who are performing at this level?
Amazon.
Yeah? Netflix, yeah, one of my personal favorite examples. Uber, Airbnb. Uber application, for example, it's become really good at understanding where you want to go before you tell it that. Netflix is doing the same with the content. Airbnb with the travel arrangements, and they're expanding that all the time. So we're really talking about a handful of companies there. So what do we, yeah?
Again, a question.
Sure.
So can you please tell us more about personalization as a standalone app?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I'm gonna get that next. So majority of the companies are here. They think about personalization that, hey, we need to implement something fast and quick. So let's say that they take a standalone app that performs only email campaign personalization. So we want to personalize our emails, let's say product basket reminder. So they implement a single app that is doing just that, and they think it from business perspective that we do just this one thing. And this approach is something that creates a lot of the problems at the market. Because you start to get messy IT architecture, and then also the experience for the customers or consumers gets messy because you think them as separate different campaigns or separate different channels. Whereas you should be aiming to a level where you communicate seamlessly every channel and it's fluent part of your technology stack, so it doesn't mess up anything. So these are sort of the two polarized ends of the market. But what we're seeing now is that there are more and more companies realizing that in order for them to be successful, in order to win the tomorrow's business, they need to be able to make this transition from here to here, where they start to implement personalization to all of their channels, and they try to think and implement it so that it's continuous and part of every interaction in all of the channels. And this is sort of Frosmo's vision, that we want to help companies to achieve this and get here. And that's how we build, for example, our product, thinking from these two angles. How do we help companies to achieve that? What do you guys think about this?
Do you have any clients that are in the top right corner already?
I would say that this top right corner is it's not really possible to reach unless you've started digital first. But we have companies and customers who are pretty far here and getting there quite fast at this level. Let's say, for example, Veikkaus in Finland is doing fantastic work there. All right, so that leads us to Frosmo's vision. So we obviously want to be the best personalization software for that kind of market and that vision of market. What it means is that we want to provide a software for you guys that makes it easy and fast to implement that vision, that goal where we see companies heading towards to. So how do we get there? Of course, we need the best product at the market. And I, of course, totally love our product. It's been so fantastic to be part of creating it from zero. So when we started creating it 8-9 years ago, it was based on our first original idea, which was a gaming platform or platform for game developers, and we needed to convert it to this personalization software. So we basically had nothing, just 5-6 Frosmonauts, we call ourselves Frosmonauts, fighting about what makes sense to implement and how could it work. And here we are. It's a very scalable product, uptime. I think average last 3 years downtime has been less than 2 hours, so we're talking about 99.9998 or something like that. And continuously evolving and getting better. We have fantastic documentation, really world class. It's easy to read from there, how to use the software and all of the different features. And Joni is going to talk soon more about what's new and what's been happening and how the user interface, user experience for Frosmo has become better, but I'm going to talk a little bit about the vision and the horizon where we're heading towards to. So the first thing in our product vision, what we've defined is that we want to be the best product to create personalized customer journeys. And we've especially built this product for the modern frameworks and modern setup. So if you're familiar with terms like headless or microservices architecture, frameworks like React, Vue, Angular. So we've really done a lot of work there so that we don't compromise the performance that microservices architecture or headless setup promises to our customers. What the modern frameworks allows companies to implement in the front end. But we don't want to forget traditional websites. So we have best-in-class JavaScript tag-based solution also, which allows you to do all the same features. And we want to provide this product both for commerce-focused sites, meaning that you sell something to the consumers, let's say physical products or online products like Veikkaus, and also content-driven businesses like, for example, Otava Media here. So that's the first key thing in our product vision. The second thing, in order to achieve what I described at the market, we see that Frosmo needs to be connected seamlessly to different systems. So we have a very strong API-based approach. We have great interactive API documentation, which allows you to test on the fly. And basically, our goal or vision is to be able to connect Frosmo easily to any system. So for example, the content management systems, so that you don't need to duplicate the content to Frosmo, but the content resides in the content management system, and Frosmo is used just as a rule engine and communicates via the API between these systems. And the goal of this is, of course, to enable that multi-channel personalization where we're all heading towards to. And the third key point is AI. So AI has to be at the center of personalization. First of all, personalization can take a lot of effort, a lot of human work. AI can help to reduce that, to automate processes, automate content creation, automate content selection. And AI can help us to understand better how our services and personalization is performing and what we should learn from the personalization and implementations that have been executed. So of course what we want to enable is data-driven processes that help to reach those business goals I defined in the beginning. So those are the key three things in our product vision. What do you guys think? Do you have any comments or questions or thoughts about these? It's all clear? Fantastic. This is super easy. I'm actually running a little bit out of time. I'm sorry, Tom.
We need to wrap.
Yeah. So I have only one more thing left. So Frosmo roadmap, development roadmap teams, so what we're working on now. So I just wanted to highlight two key topics. There's of course a lot of other stuff and smaller features, etc. But these two big teams for the near future. So the first thing is AI and machine learning. So what we're going to do is we're working hard to implement and allow Frosmo users to try out new algorithms and insights, especially when it comes to recommendations. So dynamic content, recommending either products or recommending content. And the goal is that anyone, a marketer, can easily fine-tune, adjust, and try out these different kind of algorithms we introduce, and try out different kind of variations and versions of these recommendations, just using Frosmo's user interface. What we're also going to do is we're introducing all the time new ready-to-use templates for all different kind of recommendations, because we've all seen the basic recommendations, so we're trying to figure out how to come up with new different kind of recommendations that haven't been thought out yet, and how to create the algorithms to support those. So that's a big theme for us. The second big theme for us is customer journey management. So in order to get to that vision, what we're aiming for at the market and where we see our companies, our customers heading towards to, we're working on features that help to plan and implement and execute quite comprehensive multi-step personalization journeys. And the key to make this successful is, of course, to create a user interface that allows companies to plan and quite easily manage and understand these different steps that are happening alongside that journey, and how different channels are connected to that. So that's another big topic we're working on.